Hello everybody, it's Angel Arts, and welcome to Let's Play Mass Effect 1. Before I begin, I wanted to say, if this is your very first time seeing one of my videos or being in my channel, I highly recommend that you please, it's to your benefit to take a look at my quick introduction to my channel. I'll try to put an annotation link as well as a description to the intro to my channel in the description below. And the reason why I would like for you guys to check that out first is to make sure that I am the right Let's Player for you. I tend to cater to a very specific audience. My playstyle, I think, is decently unique, and I know that a good chunk of people appreciate it, while another chunk of people, it's not necessarily for them. So please take the time, take a look, if everything checks out for you, because it'll explain a lot of things that I'm going to be talking about in my introduction that you might be completely lost about if you don't go to my introduction first and know about, who I am as a Let's Player and what I'm all about. So please go do that. The next thing I'm going to say after that is this is going to be a relatively long introduction, because I do have a lot I want to explain about this Let's Play moving forward. But to be nice, if you want to skip over that and go straight to the gameplay, I'll try to have an annotation available on the screen so you can jump to that. So, first things first, this is not going to be a blind Let's Play of Mass Effect. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am a huge fan of BioWare. I'm a huge fan of RPGs, especially RPGs that tell a very deep and rich story, in addition to very amazing characters, and I love getting into character developments. Again, you already know this if you went to the introduction to my channel. So I've been a very big fan of Mass Effect, and the very first Let's Play that I ever did, on my channel, was that of Mass Effect 3. And since then, I have been continuing on doing Let's Plays of other games, including BioWare games, and with Mass Effect Andromeda just around the corner, I thought it would be really cool to go back to my roots, to sort of, pre-game and warm myself up for the new Mass Effect game by going back and playing Mass Effects 1 and 2. Because I never actually did a Let's Play of the other two games on my channel officially, and I thought it would, as the completionist that I am, I thought it would be cool for me to play Mass Effect 1 and 2 and just complete the trilogy on my channel before moving on to Mass Effect Andromeda. So, and with that, I don't know for sure. I want to say that they may, but I don't know for sure. Regardless of whether they do or don't allow you to transfer your saved game from Mass Effect 3, I have no idea. I know that there are very little things that from Mass Effect 3 that affect Mass Effect Andromeda, like at least from what I'm aware of, because they're trying really hard to start a clean slate and start a new adventure that has nothing to do with your Shepard necessarily. So they may or may not, actually load a save file. However, regardless, I wanted to make sure I established the full story of my quote-unquote canon Shepard, that is the canon Shepard for my Mass Effect LPs, by going back and essentially reenacting, so to speak, the basically adventure of my Shepard, Clive Shepard, through Mass Effect 1 and 2. Because really the only time you've ever seen Shepard in my Let's Plays is through Mass Effect 3, and so I thought, again, hey, I'm trying to be a completionist here. Let me go ahead and tell the story of what Clive did throughout his adventures in Mass Effects 1 and 2, and then that would be, at minimum, my headcanon, if we don't load a Mass Effect 3 save into Andromeda, that would be my headcanon of his story going into Mass Effect Andromeda. So I'm going to try my very best through this Let's Play to do everything as much as to the best of my memory, unfortunately, because I didn't write every single thing, but to the best of my memory, everything that Clive did when I first played Mass Effect 1 and 2 with him, with the exception of two things. One of the things that people were asking me for, a lot of viewers, ever since I played Mass Effect 3, many of the players were disappointed that I did not end up romancing Kaidan as a gay Shepard. I love Kaidan. I really, really love Kaidan. But, you know, I ended up deciding, well, I ended up romancing Steve Cortez, and I loved Steve Cortez's romance. But again, people were like, can you please romance Kaidan next time? Play Mass Effect again and romance Kaidan. I've been getting so many requests for this for the last 4 years or so, ever since, like I said, I started Let's Playing. So I thought that with me replaying Mass Effect 1 and 2, I would try to do a little bit of a compromise. I would retell the story of Clive, with the exception that in this, I guess, parallel universe, Clive will instead romance Kaidan Alenko. And with him romancing Kaidan Alenko, that means that another major decision in this game, which I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to spoil people in case they've never actually experienced Mass Effect before. You can probably guess what major decision that is going to change in this playthrough. But again, I'm not going to reveal any spoilers. So those should be, to the best of my ability, the only major changes that will happen. Everything else will be lined up, you know, the way that Clive Shepard did, so that it connects, hopefully, as seamlessly as possible with my Mass Effect 3 Let's Play. Now, I mentioned spoilers, so I am going to try my best, because I'm very sensitive to spoilers, and I understand, even though Mass Effect has been around for a long time, I don't want to necessarily assume that everyone who comes to this Let's Play has already experienced it. I don't want to assume that. And that's why I am going to try very hard to not give any spoilers for anything that hasn't happened yet. What I may do is I may give an analysis of my thoughts on the game after something happens, after a major event happens, and I may at most vaguely reference something about the future games, again, being very careful not to actually spoil anything. You know, I'll try to explain my thoughts in a way such that if you played the other Mass Effect games, you'll know what I'm talking about, but if you've never played the other Mass Effect games, it'll just go over your head, and that's fine, because if you don't want to be spoiled by it, you'll want it to go over your head. So that is my goal, is to make sure that this is, even though I am going to be playing this not blind, I want to make sure that this is as spoiler-free as possible for those of you who happen to be, you know, experiencing this game for the first time. That means that in the comment section, please, 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 do not post any spoilers for anything that has not happened yet in this playthrough. You know, don't post anything about Mass Effect 2 in the comments. Don't post about anything that is going to happen later on in this game if it hasn't happened yet. Please don't, because I do not want to spoil the possible viewers, it's always a possibility, who don't want to be spoiled by this game. So, I'm going to say that, and, you know, just trust that you guys won't do that, and if you do, you know, things will have to start being removed from the comment section, so hopefully that will not be the case. Another question that some of you guys might be asking about is, if I am going to be romancing Kaidan Alenko, and hopefully the mention of a character isn't that much of a spoiler, other than the fact that he is a same-gender character. If I'm going to be romancing Kaidan, would I be playing or replaying a Let's Play of Mass Effect 3 with the Kaidan romance? And the answer to that is, I want to. I really, really want to. What I'll probably do is do a similar thing as I did with my Dragon Age Inquisition Let's Plays, and only record the unique parts of my playthrough with this alternate universe Clive Shepard. I probably will probably do a special replay of Mass Effect 3 LP where I just show the Kaidan, scenes, basically, because all of the other scenes will be relatively identical, that is my goal. It all depends on how quickly I'm able to play through the first 2 games before Mass Effect Andromeda comes out. If it seems like I'll have time to do that before Mass Effect Andromeda is actually out. They said that it's going to be out in spring of 2017. That may or may not be delayed. Who knows? So that is my intention. But at minimum, I'm going to try my hardest to get through the first 2 games at least. The last thing I'm going to mention, or one of the last things I mentioned, I warned you this is going to be a long intro. So I warned you ahead of time. So there's a lot I wanted to explain about this Let's Play. There's actually a couple more things. The next thing I wanted to mention is that I will be playing this game with I think it's the top mod for this game, which is Mass Effect updated / improved textures. Mass Effect updated improves textures. So it basically makes the game a lot more, it gives it a facelift. It gives it a graphical facelift, makes it more HD, I guess, is the best way to describe it. It might be subtle for many of you. You might not necessarily notice the difference. But if you're interested in seeing what a link to the mod, I'll make sure that I put the mod down in the description below so you can check it out. I think it'll make the experience with Mass Effect be a lot more fresh than it would have if I was just playing with the vanilla graphics, since, you know, the game's been around for a while, and I think like an updated look might help now that we're revisiting it again. The last thing, and I promise you this is the last thing, is, like I said, this is going to be a gay Let's Play, and originally in Mass Effect, they didn't necessarily allow you to have a same-gender romance in Mass Effect 1 and 2. However, they could have, because Mike Meir, the voice actor for the main male character, did voice record dialogue that basically allowed for a same-gender romance, but it was removed from the final game. Many of you probably already knew that. However, even though it was not released with the final game, the voice files were still there, and there is a way for you to essentially gain access to getting that gay content. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe that if you do end up, finagling your way in and accessing that same gender romance content in Mass Effect 1, I believe that also transfers over to Mass Effect 2, I think. So I'm gonna do a little bit of research. And originally, whenever I saw links that explained how to do this, it always seemed that the only way you can do that is to go with a default-looking Shepard, which is fine. The default-looking Shepard is fine, but I really wanted to play through this game as Clive Shepard, not as the default-looking Shepard. So I want to give major shout-out to Persephone's Underworld. She is the one who actually gave me the link, which is a very rare link, because I never heard of it before. She introduced it to me, that explained how to have a essentially gay Shepard, with a custom look, with a customized physical appearance. Now, just to warn you though, the change, or it's not really a mod, but it's a hack, I guess. The hack to get the gay romance Shepard is not perfect. There might be some cases where some of the characters refer to you as ma'am, for example, or might refer to you as she. So, I mean, there isn't any other way around it if I really wanted to make this a gay Let's Play. And I thought it would be really cool to actually play Shepard as a gay male from the first game all through the third game. Not that Clive originally wasn't always gay, because I think he realized his gayness. He realized his gayness later on in life, like many people that I know personally in real life, that has happened to them. They kind of discover a side of their sexuality that they didn't discover until later in life. That's what happened with Clive. But I thought it would be cool to try to play Clive who pursued a same-gender romance from the beginning, instead of starting out with women and then realizing later on in life that that wasn't really what he ultimately wanted to pursue. That really wasn't him. So, whew, I know that was a lot, guys, but there are a lot of unique things going on with this particular playthrough, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knew what they got themselves into. So, let's go ahead and dive into the game at long last. I have missed this game. I haven't played it in such a long time, and it just feels so good to go back into this world again, because I miss my Shepard, I miss Clive, and so we're gonna go ahead and start a new career.
Welcome to Alliance Military Database. Classified information requested.
Alright, let's connect the database.
Establishing secure connection. Secure connection confirmed.
That's wonderful, thank you. Alright, so here's the default. Now you may or may not notice that there is a bit of a texture change. So with the mod, his armor actually is a bit... the shading is a lot different. There's a lot more textured bumps, you can see a lot more detail on his armor, and his complexion is a lot more fleshed out. It's not as, I guess, pale. There's a little bit more color to his cheeks, so to speak. So that is the difference. But we're not going to go as John Shepard. We're going to do our own unique ID, and we are going to do a custom mail.
Please log in to access your profile.
We want to hear about not John Shepard's story, we want to hear about Clive Shepard's story. So, connection established. Decrypting. Verifying username.
Warning, data corruption detected.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
Please reconstruct profile.
Reconstruct profile.
Confirm pre-service history.
Okay, so with Clive, I ended up wanting to go a little unique. I wanted to go with a unique, or not unique, an interesting background. The very first Shepard, believe it or not, that I ever played in Mass Effect 1 was a female Shepard. And the reason why I had to play a female Shepard is because I really wanted to romance the male. I really wanted to romance the male character in this game. And at that time, it had to be female. So then after I played through the female, my female was a spacer. She was a spacer. And I wanted to pick a different background for my second playthrough of Mass Effect, which is Clive. So Clive Shepard was not actually the very first Shepard I played. He was the second, but in terms of my YouTube channel's Shepard, Clive is my canon. So he was Earthborn. I thought it would be a lot more interesting for him being Earthborn, especially since mankind has since branched out and gone and colonized more areas in space. So the choice is, just so that you're aware of, for those of you who are new to this franchise, if you were a spacer, both of their parents were in the Alliance military. Your childhood was spent on ships and stations as they transferred from posting to posting, never staying in one location for more than a few years. Following your parents' footsteps, you enlisted at the age of 18. You could be a colonist. You were born and raised on Mindor, a small border colony in the Attican Traverse. When you were 16, slavers raided Mindor, slaughtering your family and friends. You were saved by a passing Alliance patrol, and you enlisted with the military a few years later. Or an Earthborn. You were an orphan raised on the streets of the great megatropolises covering Earth. You escaped the life of petty crime and underworld gangs by enlisting with the Alliance military when you turned 18. So Clive was Earthborn.
Psychological profile.
And again, my original Shepard, my female Shepard, was a war hero. So early in your military career, you found yourself facing an overwhelming enemy force. You risked your own life to save your fellow soldiers and defeat the enemy despite the impossible odds. Your bravery and heroism have earned you medals and recognition from the Alliance fleet. You could be for your psychological profile, you could be ruthless. Throughout your military career, you have held fast to one basic rule: get the job done. You've been called cold, calculating, and brutal. Your reputation for ruthless efficiency makes your fellow soldiers wary of you, but when failure is not an option, the military always goes to you first. Now, Clive is he's not quite war hero-y, but he's also not quite ruthless. Clive is somewhere in between. He leans more towards being a nice guy. But at the same time, if you're being a big jerk face, then he might try to put you in your place. So he tries to do the right thing. He tries to be a good person. But if you're being a jerk face, then he's the kind of person who will get in your face if you're being a jerk face. So, but for Clive, the background I gave for him was sole survivor. During your service, a mission you were on went horribly wrong. Trapped in an extreme survival situation, you had to overcome physical torments and psychological stresses that would have broken most people. You survived while all those around you fell, and now you alone are left to tell the tale. I thought that was probably the most interesting for Clive, while fitting his personality. So the background and your psychological profile all kind of define, who your Shepard, for my case, who Clive Shepard is at the beginning of this story.
Confirm military specialization.
All right, so now the class system for Mass Effect is interesting. If you're used to the fantasy classes, like you've got the mage, you've got the rogue, you've got the warrior, it's a bit different here. So there are three, I guess, branches of skills or talents. You have basically you have, I guess, a soldier who is our combat specialist, ideal for the front lines of a firefight. Soldiers get improved health, can train in the use of all weapon types, start with the ability to use medium armor, and can specialize in heavy armor. The other, I guess, specialist is an engineer. Engineers are tech specialists using the holographic Omni tool, which is a really cool, awesome orange, gel that can transform into, this tool on your hand that you can see right there. And orange is my favorite color, so I love that. They can decrypt security systems, repair or modify technical equipment, disrupt enemy weapons or shields, and heal their squad. Engineers can only use light armor and can only receive weapons training with pistols. Or an adept. Adepts are biotic specialists. Through upgradable implants, they can use biotic powers to lift or throw objects, shield the squad, and disable or destroy enemies. Adepts can only use light armor and can only receive weapons training with pistols. So these are the quote-unquote magic users in the Mass Effect universe. Think of biotics as like psychic telekinetic powers. Really, really cool stuff. So those are the three specialists, and then the other three classes are basically hybrids of the three specialists. So an infiltrator basically is a hybrid between an engineer and a soldier, so tech and tech and firearms basically. Infiltrators combine combat and tech special abilities to specialize in killing or disabling enemies at long range. Infiltrators are trained to use Omni tools, focusing on decryption and offensive abilities rather than healing. They can use pistols or sniper rifles and medium armor. The Sentinel is basically a hybrid between the engineer and the adept. So Sentinels combine biotic and tech abilities. Typically they use biotic abilities and advanced healing skills to defend allies, though they can also disrupt opponents with biotic or tech attacks. They are more efficient at tech and biotics than other classes, but at the expense of combat. Sentinels can only use light armor and receive no advanced weapon training. And then for lastly, we have the Vanguard, which is a hybrid between the soldier and the adept. This is a lot of people's favorites, the Vanguard. Vanguards are biotic warriors. They combine biotics and weapons to take down opponents and are essentially deadly at short range. They use pistols and shotguns and can specialize in medium armor. Now, my favorite class is actually the Sentinel. If I were in the Mass Effect universe, I would probably be a Sentinel because I'm a big techie. I'm a technical engineering kind of person, but I also love magic. I'm also a big, magic user at heart. So I thought that the best class for me and the most fun class that I really enjoy is a Sentinel, especially since Sentinels, at least in Mass Effect 1, are supposedly the quote-unquote healers of this game. And I definitely am a major, if there's a healer class in a game, that's like my go-to. And this was the class that my original Shepard, my female Shepard was. She was a Sentinel. However, when I made my second Shepard, Clive Shepard, I wanted to choose my second favorite class, and that was the Adept, which is, the pure, quote-unquote, pure mage class. So that's what I went for, and that's why he is an Adept. Now, select a bonus talent. So this bonus talent I have available because of really awesome stuff that I did in a previous playthrough of this game. Normally, if you play this game for the first time, you don't get these bonus talents. I think there's only one bonus talent that I earned, which is a bonus talent on assault rifles, which is a horrible thing because I like assault rifles.
Confirm facial
so
identification.
I'll go check that. Now we're going to actually make Clive. And it's annoying that you can't start with the default face to start off from like they normally do in say Dragon Age. That's really unfortunate because I really would have loved to start with that base. So I'm gonna spend some time right now trying to reconstruct Clive Shepard to the best of my ability. The first thing though that defines Clive is his hair. His hair is bright red. That is pretty much like a major defining feature of Clive is his fiery red hair. There we go. That is Clive. Now, I think I'm going to give his hairstyle a little bit of a tweak. I think I'm going to start with this hairstyle for him. I think this is the hairstyle I actually gave him. So it's a little bit shorter than how it was in Mass Effect 3, but I think that's fine because this is a slightly younger Shepard, and therefore I think it makes more sense for his hair to be shorter. The other thing that defines him is his deep blue eyes, so I'm gonna make sure that I get that in place. That looks pretty good. Okay. I think guys, I have Clive Shepard done to the best of my ability, given the options that I have for create a character for Mass Effect 1. That's about as good as I think I can get it. So let's go ahead and finalize his appearance. I like him. I like him. He looks good to me. I think that will do quite nicely. So let's adjust his nose just a little bit. Nudge it up just a little bit and maybe make his... Yeah. That's good.
Profile reconstruction complete.
Oh, he looks good. He looks real good. Alright. Name Clive Shepard. Origin, Earthborn. Reputation, Sole Survivor. Class, Adept. Talents, Assault Rifles. Once you confirm your character is complete, you will be unable to change any settings. That's fine.
Identification confirmed.
Alright. We're gonna leave the difficulty at normal. It's been a while since I've played any Mass Effect game. Never mind the first one. Auto level is off because I want to choose my own skills. Target assist is high. Squad power usage is active. Subtitles, yes. Autosave, yes. Alright. Oh, I've missed this series so much. I can't wait to get back into it.
Well, what about Shepard? Earthborn, but No record of his family.
Doesn't have one. He was raised on the streets. Learned to look out for himself.
He saw his whole unit die on a cruise. He could have some serious emotional scars.
Every soldier has scars. Shepard's a survivor.
Is that the kind of person we want protecting the galaxy?
That's the only kind of person who can protect the galaxy.
Thank you, Anderson.
I'll make the call.
Thank you, Anderson. In the year 2148, explorers on Mars discovered the remains of an ancient spacefaring civilization. In the decades that followed, these mysterious artifacts revealed startling new technologies, enabling travel to the furthest stars. The basis for this incredible technology was a force that controlled the very fabric of space and time. They called it the greatest discovery in human history. The civilizations of the galaxy call it Mass Effect. Whew, I forgot how fast those words go across the screen. Oh, yes. I think.
The Arcturus Prime relay is in range.
Oh, Joker.
Initiating transmission sequence.
Commander. Jenkins. I think that's Neptune? I think.
We are connected. Calculating transit mass and destination. The relay is hot. Acquiring approach vector.
You're hot, Joker.
I just jumped us halfway across the galaxy and hit a target the size of a pinhead. So that's incredible.
You are incredible.
Besides, Spectres are trouble. I don't like having them on board. Call me paranoid.
You're paranoid. The Council helped fund this project. They have a right to send someone to keep an eye on their investment.
Yeah, that is the official story. But only an idiot believes the official story.
Cut the chatter. I agree. You're overreacting. I'm gonna say I agree. I'm gonna say you're overreacting.
You always expect the worst.
Well, bad feelings are an occupational hazard. But we don't go anywhere unless there's a good reason, so what are we doing here?
Joker, status report.
Just cleared the mass relay, Captain. Stealth systems engaged. Everything looks solid.
Good. Find a comm buoy and link us into the network. I want mission reports relayed back to Alliance brass before we reach Eden Prime.
Aye, aye, Captain. Better brace yourself, sir. I think Nihilus is headed your way.
He's already here, Lieutenant. Tell Commander Shepard to meet me in the comm room for a debriefing.
Yes, debriefings.
You get that, Commander?
I forgot how great Joker looks in this game, in Mass Effect, even back in Mass Effect 1.
He sounds angry. Something must have gone wrong with the mission.
Captain always sounds like that when he's talking to me.
Can't possibly imagine why.
Nice. Okay, press O to access the Codex, your galactic encyclopedia. Oh boy, look at all this. Personal human, his summary, profile. So I probably should read this so I can freshen up on, again, who Clive is. So you were born on Earth, but you never knew your parents. A child of the streets, you learned to live by your wits and guts, surviving the hidden underbelly of the megatropolises of humanity's homeworld. Eager to find a better life, you joined the Alliance military when you came of age. You volunteered for an expedition to Akuz, a lush world on the outskirts of Alliance space that had suddenly dropped out of contact. Arriving on the surface, your patrol found the settlement intact, but no survivors. At nightfall, the Thresher Maws struck mindless abominations of teeth and tentacles that rose up from beneath the earth. For those of you who are new to the series, think of Thresher Maws as ginormous, gargantuan, evil, deadly worms that just devour you with ginormous teeth. Constant gunfire couldn't drown out the shrieks of your fellow soldiers as they were dragged down to a gruesome death. 50 Marines died on Akuz. You were the only one to make it back to the landing zone alive. A monument on the planet commemorates the massacre, a grim reminder of the price humanity must pay as they spread throughout the stars. Humanity and the Alliance. So this is also important to know so you can kind of get yourself, situated on what's exactly has all been happening since, well, time as we know it. 2069, Armstrong Outpost at Shackleton Crater becomes the first human settlement on Luna. That's the moon that they call it now, guys. It is formally founded on July 24th, the 100th anniversary of the first lunar landing. 2103, Lowell City in Eos Chasma becomes the first human settlement on Mars. 2137, Eldfell Ashland Energy Corporation demonstrates helium-3 fuel extraction from the atmosphere of Saturn. 2142, construction of Gagarin Station Jump Zero begins beyond the orbit of Pluto. 2148, prospectors discover the Prothean ruins at Promethe Planum on Mars. What are Protheans? Protheans is an alien race that you're going to learn more about later. 2149, translation of Prothean data leads humans to the Charon Mass Relay. The Mass Relay is that gigantic thing that you saw us, fly through with a big giant bolt of light when Joker, the pilot, was saying 3, 2, 1, and basically allows you to travel at ridiculous speeds across the galaxy. Systems Alliance founded to coordinate exploration and colonization of extrasolar worlds. 2151, a shipping accident at Singapore International Spaceport exposes downwind communities to containers of dust form element 0. Alliance begins construction of Arcturus Station. Element 0 is a gaseous substance, I believe, that essentially gives... it's sort of like a... it's sort of like the lyrium. If we're talking Dragon Age terms, it's the lyrium of this universe, or it's a source of magical power that can be used as fuel, I think. But it is also how people become biotics. Like people that are exposed to element 0 tend to become biotic and can cast the Mass Effect form of magic, basically. 2152. Roughly 30% of the children born in Singapore after element 0 exposure suffer from cancerous growths. System Alliance begins settlements of Earth's first extrasolar colony world, the planet Demeter. 2154. Commander Shepard is born. That's me! 2155. Systems Alliance occupies completed portions of Arcturus Station as the headquarters. 2156. Some children of Singapore exhibit minor telekinetic abilities. 2157. Turians encounter human explorers. First contact war. So Turians are another racial species that you'll meet, and they were the first alien life that humans met, and it ended up not being a very good first impression, apparently. Occupation and liberation of the human colony of Shanxi. 2158. Humans learn potential of biotics. An international effort to track element 0 exposures begins. Roughly 10% of exposed children show some level of biotic ability. 2160. System Alliance Parliament formed. 2165. Humans establish embassy on the Citadel. 2170. The Citadel is basically like the hub, the main capital of the Milky Way galaxy, the main alien capital, and by aliens that includes us humans now, since 2165 apparently. 2170. Batarian slavers attack the Alliance colony of Mindor. Batarians are the quote-unquote, I wouldn't call them the evil alien race, but many of them tend to not be the friendliest of creatures. 2176. The Skillian Blitz. Pirates and slavers attacked Elysium, the human capital in the Skillian Verge. 2177. Thresher Maws devoured the Alliance colony of Akuz. 2178. The retaliation for the Skillian Blitz. An Alliance fleet wipes out an army of slavers on the moon of Torfan. And 2183 is the current date. So, aliens, council
Roughly
races.
1,200 years ago, the Turians were invited to join the Citadel Council to fulfill the role of galactic peacekeepers. The Turians have the largest fleet in Citadel space, and they make up the single largest portion of the Council's military forces. As their territory and influence has spread, the Turians have come to rely on the Solarians for military intelligence and the Asari for diplomacy. Despite a somewhat colonial attitude towards the rest of the galaxy, the ruling hierarchy understands they would lose more than they would gain if the other two races were ever removed. Turians come from an autocratic society that values discipline and possesses a strong sense of personal and collective honor. there is lingering animosity between Turians and humans over the First Contact War of 2157,
right,
which is known as the Relay 314 incident to the Turians. Officially, however, the two species are allies, and they enjoy civil, if cool, diplomatic relations.
Yeah, so we're supposedly friendly to each other now, but it didn't always start out that way.
The Systems Alliance is an independent supranational government representing the interests of humanity as a whole. The Alliance is responsible for the governance and defense of all extrasolar colonies and stations. The Alliance grew out of the various national space programs as a matter of practicality. Sol's planets had been explored and exploited through piecemeal national efforts. The expense of colonizing entire new solar systems could not be met by any one country. With humans knowing that alien contact was inevitable, there was enough political will to jointly fund an international effort. Still, the Alliance was often disregarded by those on Earth until the First Contact War. While the national governments dithered and bickered over who should lead the effort to liberate Shanxi, the Alliance fleet struck decisively. Post-war public approval gave the Alliance the credibility to establish its own parliament and become the galactic face of humanity.
So what I'm going to do from now on, guys, just to help you out, is I'm probably going to have separate episodes where I do Codex stuff, because I know that not everybody is interested in sitting through Codex items, but some of you are. So I will try to have dedicated episodes just for codexes from this point forward. I just wanted to go through the starting codexes because A, there aren't very many of them, and B, again, if you're new to this franchise, if you're new to this universe, you kind of have to know all of this stuff starting, because otherwise you might get a little lost or might get a little confused. So I'm gonna try to take some extra time. Again, thank you for your patience if you know this universe frontwards and backwards. But again, for the people that are watching that have not experienced this universe before, I want to try to make sure that they are filled in as much as possible as things become relevant. So thank you again for your patience. Let's go chat with some of our crew members. Hey, Joker.
The captain's waiting for you in the comm room, Commander.
But I know, but I want to talk to you, Joker.
The captain's waiting for you in the comm room, Commander.
Oh, all right, fine. How about you, Kaidan?
You probably don't want to keep the captain waiting, Commander.
But I'm Commander Shepard.
You probably don't want to keep the captain waiting, Commander.
Okay, fine. We will just walk around this beautiful Normandy ship. Look how beautiful it is. With our beautiful crew.
They're always on a mission.
And we're getting dragged, right along with him.
Relax, Presley. You're gonna give yourself an ulcer.
Hugs and kisses, Presley. And by that I mean Exo Presley.
Congratulations, Commander. Looks like we had a smooth run. You heading down to see the captain?
Sounds like you don't trust our Turian guest.
Sorry, Commander. Just having a chat with Adams down at engineering. I didn't mean to cause any trouble. But you have to admit, something's odd about this mission. The whole crew feels it.
You think the Alliance brass is holding out on us?
If all we're supposed to do is test out the stealth system, why is Captain Anderson in charge? And then there's Nihilus. Spectres are elite operatives, top covert agents. Why send a Spectre, a Turian Spectre, on a shakedown run? It doesn't add up.
You don't trust Nihilus?
I don't like Turians in general. It runs in my family. My grandfather fought in the First Contact War. Lost a lot of friends when the Turians hit us.
Nihilus is no ordinary Turian.
You've got that right, Commander. We're an Alliance vessel, human military, but Nihilus doesn't answer to the captain like the rest of us. Spectres operate outside the normal chain of command.
Right.
And they don't come along just to observe shakedown runs. Nihilus looks like he's expecting some heavy action. I don't like it.
Do you have a problem with the captain?
No, but I can't figure out what he's doing here. Captain Anderson is one of the most decorated Special Forces officers in the service. If he melted down all his medals, he could make a life-size statue of himself. You don't send a soldier like that on a do-nothing mission. He's treating this shakedown run too seriously. Something big is going on.
What do you know about the stealth systems?
I just know it masks our location from scans and sensors. Cutting-edge technology. The Normandy's the only ship with this prototype drive. But why are we fully staffed? A skeleton crew would be cheaper, less chance of security leaks too. Plus there's Nihilus. It's pretty obvious this shakedown run is just a cover.
For what?
Damned if I know, Commander. We're out here on false pretenses. I'm not a fan of being left in the dark.
I noticed once that once I've exhausted dialogue choices, it doesn't gray out. I think they ended up adding that in much later. Let's see.
I'll see if I can get some answers when I see him.
Good luck, Commander. Something I can do for you, Commander?
I was curious about a few things.
You and me both. Like I said before, too many things don't add up on this mission.
All right, well,
I better head down and see the captain.
All right.
I grew up on Eden Prime, Doc. It's not the kind of place Spectres visit. There's something Nihilus isn't telling us about this mission.
That's crazy. The captain's in charge here. He wouldn't take orders from a Spectre.
Not his choice, Doc. Spectres don't answer to anyone. They can do whatever they want. Kill anyone who gets in their way.
Oh, you watch too many spy vids, Jenkins.
Dr. Chakwas? Jenkins?
What do you think, Commander? We won't be staying on Eden Prime too long, will we? I'm itching for some real action.
I sincerely hope you're kidding, Corporal. Your real action usually ends with me patching up crew members in the infirmary.
Relax, Jenkins.
You need to calm down, Corporal. A good soldier stays cool, even under fire.
Sorry, Commander, but this waiting's killing me. I've never been on a mission like this before, not one with a Spectre on board.
Yeah, I know, and you know, you want to prove yourself, especially, I mean, us humans in general trying to prove ourselves with the rest of the Council races, so, I mean, I get it.
Just treat this like every other assignment you've had and everything will work out.
Easy for you to say. You proved yourself on a cruise. Everybody knows what you can do. This is my big chance. I need to show the brass what I can do.
Just be careful, man. Just take it easy. Just take it easy, bro.
You're young, Corporal. You have a long career ahead of you. Don't do something stupid to mess it up.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna screw this up.
What do you think about Nihilus?
What can you tell me about Nihilus?
Turians are generally well respected by the other species. Their fleet has more patrols protecting Citadel space than any other. They don't always get on well with us, though. Some people find them too rigid. Others still blame them for the First Contact War. As for Nihilus, I haven't said more than 2 words to him. He usually only speaks to the captain.
I hope we get a chance to see him in action. I heard Nihilus took down an entire enemy platoon all by himself.
What do you know about the Spectres?
Only what I've heard. Spectre agents work directly for the Citadel Council. They usually work alone or in small groups. Spectres don't have any official power, though. Basically, they're a shadow organization with a mandate to preserve and protect galactic stability.
Protect it at any cost. Don't forget that part. Spectres operate above the law.
Why don't we have any of our own people in there?
Spectres usually come from the Council races, like the Turians. We've been trying to get a human accepted into their ranks for years now. So far, it hasn't happened.
Hey, Commander, you'd make a good Spectre. You're always getting dropped into impossible situations, forced to survive unbeatable odds, just like you on a cruise.
Those are some bad memories, soldier.
I try not to think about a cruise.
Sorry, Commander. I didn't mean to offend you. I respect what you did there. We all do.
Let's not dwell on the past, Commander. Was there something else you needed?
How do you control agents with unlimited power?
I suppose the Council could revoke the Spectre status of an agent who got out of hand. At that point, Citadel Security Services would take over.
Those C-Sec grunts wouldn't stand a chance. The Spectres were 20 ordinary soldiers. The Spectres police themselves. An agent goes rogue, they send another agent to take him down. That's Spectre justice.
The Corporal's confusing romantic legends with reality, Commander.
I like Corporal Jenkins. He's a little bushy-eyed, green, but, he's young and he wants to prove himself, and I like him for that. How about Eden Prime?
You're from Eden Prime, aren't you, Jenkins? What's it like?
It's very peaceful, Commander. They've been real careful with development, so you don't have any city noise or pollution. My parents lived on the outskirts of the colony. At night, I used to climb this big hill and stare across the fields back at the lights from the main settlement. It was gorgeous. But when I got older, I realized it was a little too calm and quiet for me. That's why I joined the Alliance. Even Paradise gets boring after a while.
Paradise, you say?
Any idea why Eden Prime was chosen as our destination?
Not really sure, Commander. Eden Prime's one of our most stable colonies. Good place to take the Normandy for a shakedown run, I guess. No real danger there. There's gotta be something else going on. We've got a Spectre on board. That's why I'm so wound up. I can't wait for the real mission to start.
Alright. Well, it's good to chat with you guys.
The captain's waiting for me.
Goodbye, Commander.
I think I've been stalling for quite a while. Hello, soldier. I talked to Presley, I talked to Dr. Chakwas, and I talked to Jenkins, and... Oh, whoa, at ease, soldier. Don't pull out your gun in the middle of the ship there. Nihilus, the Turian Spectre. Hello? Sir? Spectre? Sir?
Commander Shepard, I was hoping you'd get here first. It will give us a chance to talk.
Talk?
What about?
I'm interested in this world we're going to. Eden Prime. I've heard it's quite beautiful.
Beyond beautiful, according to Jenkins.
I've never been there.
But you know of it. It's become something of a symbol for your people, hasn't it? Proof that humanity can not only establish colonies across the galaxy, but also protect them. But how safe is it, really?
Do you know something?
Your people are still newcomers, Shepard. The galaxy can be a very dangerous place. Is the Alliance truly ready for this?
I think it's about time we told the commander what's really going on.
This mission is far more than a simple shakedown run.
Well, what's going on?
Is someone gonna fill me in, Captain?
We're making a covert pickup on Eden Prime. That's why we needed the stealth systems operational.
There must be a reason you didn't tell me about this, sir.
This comes down from the top, Commander. Information strictly on a need-to-know basis. A research team on Eden Prime unearthed some kind of beacon during an excavation. It was Prothean.
I thought the Protheans vanished 50,000 years ago.
Their legacy still remains. The mass relays, the Citadel, our ship drives. It's all based on Prothean technology.
This is big, Shepard. The last time humanity made a discovery like this, it jumped our technology forward 200 years. But Eden Prime doesn't have the facilities to handle something like this. We need to bring the beacon back to the Citadel for proper study.
Obviously, this goes beyond mere human interests, Commander. This discovery could affect every species in Council space.
Why didn't we keep the beacon for ourselves?
You humans don't have the best reputation.
Hey.
Some species see you as selfish, too unpredictable, too independent, even dangerous.
Okay, I can't disagree with
Sharing
that completely.
Beacon will improve relations with the Council. Plus, we need their scientific expertise. They know more about the Protheans than we do.
Right.
The beacon's not the only reason I'm here, Shepard.
Nihilus wants to see you in action, Commander.
Oh, does he?
He's here to evaluate you.
What's going on, Captain?
The Alliance has been pushing for this for a long time. Humanity wants a larger role in shaping interstellar policy. We want more say with the Citadel Council. The Spectres represent the Council's power and authority. If they accept a human into their ranks, it shows how far the Alliance has come.
Not many could have survived what you went through on Akuz. You showed a remarkable will to live, a particularly useful talent. That's why I put your name forward as a candidate for the Spectres.
Why would a Turian want a human in the Spectres?
Not all Turians resent humanity. Some of us see the potential of your species.
Well, thank you.
We see what you have to offer to the rest of the galaxy, and to the Spectres.
Huh.
We are an elite group. It's rare to find an individual with the skills we seek. I don't care that you're human, Shepard. I only care that you can do the job.
Well, I appreciate it. Wow, the first human Spectre. That would be, I mean, if that actually became a thing, that would be a pretty awesome honor. Do you support this, Captain?
I assume this is good for the Alliance.
Earth needs this, Shepard. We're counting on you.
I need to see your skills for myself, Commander. Eden Prime will be the first of several missions together.
You'll be in charge of the ground team. Secure the beacon and get it onto the ship ASAP. Nihilus will accompany you to observe the mission.
What do you know about the Protheans?
Just what they taught us in school. They were a technologically advanced species that ruled the galaxy 50,000 years ago. Then they vanished.
Yes.
Nobody really knows how or why, though I've heard plenty of theories. But everyone agrees galactic civilization wouldn't exist without them.
Their citadel is the very heart of galactic society, and without their mass relays, interstellar travel would be impossible. We all owe the Protheans a great debt.
I'd like to know more about Eden Prime before we touch down.
It's a peaceful farming world, but it represents something much bigger. Eden Prime is one of our oldest and most successful colonies.
That's pretty cool.
It proved we were ready to face the challenges of settling new worlds, to forge a place for humanity beyond Earth. It symbolizes humanity's growth and evolution as a spacefaring species. And after this, it will be known as the world where humans made a discovery of galactic importance.
Why is this beacon so important?
All advanced galactic civilization is based on Prothean technology, even yours.
If we hadn't discovered those Prothean ruins buried on Mars, we'd still be stuck on Earth. That was just a small data cache. Who knows what we can learn from this beacon? What if it's a weapons archive? We can't let it fall into the wrong hands.
Like who?
The Attican Traverse isn't the most stable sector of Citadel space. There are plenty of raiders and criminal groups active in the region. They might figure a Prothean beacon is worth the risk of attacking an Alliance ship. Plus, Eden Prime is right on the border of the Terminus systems.
The Attican Traverse is under Citadel protection. If the Terminus systems attack, it's an act of war.
Technically, yes. But some of the species in the Terminus might be willing to start a war over this.
The last thing the Council wants is to get dragged into a major conflict with the Terminus systems. We have to keep this low-key.
Alright, I'm ready to suit up, sir.
Just give the word, Captain.
We should be getting close to Eden.
Captain, we got a problem.
What's wrong, Joker?
Transmission from Eden Prime, sir. You better see this.
Bring it up on screen.
Get down!
We are under attack, taking heavy casualties. I repeat, heavy casualties. We can't get evac. They came out of nowhere. We need.
Oh, jeez. Oh gosh. Oh, wow. That was like the master hand from Smash Brothers, but even more evil.
Everything cuts out after that. No comm traffic at all. Just goes dead. There's nothing.
Reverse and hold at 38.5.
Wow, that's 38.5. Wow, Anderson like knew exactly where to pause it. Sheesh.
Status report.
17 minutes out, Captain. No other Alliance ships in the area.
Take us in, Joker, fast and quiet. This mission just got a lot more complicated.
A small strike team can move quickly, without drawing attention. It's our best chance to secure the beacon.
Grab your gear and meet us in the cargo hold.
Okay, Clive. It's time for a very
Tell
first...
Alenko and Jenkins to suit up, Commander. You're going in.
Alenko and Jenkins. Oh, cool. Jenkins gets to prove himself then. It's our first mission together, Clive. Well,
engaging stealth systems.
Chronologically.
Somebody was doing some serious digging here, Captain.
Your team's the muscle in this operation, Commander. Go in heavy and head straight for the dig site.
What about survivors, Captain?
Helping survivors is a secondary objective. The beacon's your top priority.
Okay.
Approaching drop point 1.
Nihilus, you're coming with us?
I move faster on my own.
Okay, so Lone Wolf...
Nihilus will scout out ahead. He'll feed you status reports throughout the mission. Otherwise, I want radio silence.
We've got his back, Captain.
The mission's yours now, Shepard. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Let's do this,
we are
boys.
Approaching drop point 2.
Oh boy.
Ship perimeter secured, Commander.
Thank you, Kaidan.
Oh God, what happened here?
That's a very good
This place
question.
got hit hard, Commander. Hostiles everywhere. Keep your guard up.
Thanks, Nihilus.
Smells like smoke and death.
Yeah.
Eden Prime will never be the same again.
Oh God, what happened here?
Check your targets. Could be friendlies.
Good point. Wow, look how beautiful this game is still to this day.
We should move, Commander.
We will. I'm just taking in the sun, even despite all the battle that's behind us.